Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Kathy Loves Scrap, and I'm coming to you from the land down under today, and we are on day 2 of series 16 of Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 days of sketches, and we're doing the double page series. All of these elements came together to create an amazing layout following the sketch by Shawn Styles Lahr, as you can see here. A great sketch to create this amazing layout of Emerald Lake in the Yukon in Canada. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through some of my choices. I did pull out those butterflies from Scrapbook Fantasies, but in the end chose not to use them. I collected a whole little bit of group of ephemera that I was going to build my clusters from, using some labels and some printed quotes, as well as some geotags. And I also have these 3 chipboard pines that reflect the pines in my photos from around Emerald Lake, which I'm also going to incorporate, and they too were from Scrapbook Fantasies. So here's my photo of Emerald Lake that I took when we went on our day trip out of Skagway up into the Yukon. We crossed over the border, and this was one of the many sights that we saw that day, and it was just breathtakingly beautiful. And I just love the mountains. I'm sorry, in Alaska, your mountains and your trees are amazing. They absolutely are mesmerizing. As you can see, the colors in this lake are phenomenal, and it's called Emerald Lake for a reason, because it just sparkles like emeralds. Now, I'm going to use some of these Vicky Booten squares, as well as her Fernwood collection. They're from the Bold and Bright, the squares. These ones here are from Fernwood. I did think I was going to use that strip there with the quotes on it, but in the end I chose not to use it. I have used this vine part in it. It just marries beautifully for what I wanted it to do. I love the brightness of this green. It reflects the green in the lake, and I have 2 of this page here as well from the Fernwood collection. And as I turn it over, I realise I actually like this side. This side here reminds me of the mountains, and the colours are just perfect for the lake. And I think that's going to make the photos pop, but I will just experiment a little bit, and I am going to keep those branding strips at the top, and I'm going to use them. So you can see that I'm thinking about it, and I'm procrastinating about which actual side of this paper that I'm going to use. I think in the end that I do end up going back to this side. I and ah thinking that the darker side is the one I wanted, because originally that's what I picked, was the darker side. But as you can see, it's obviously not sitting right for me, and so I put it to the side and have a little bit of a think, looking at the green coming out in it, whether that's actually going to be the right colour or not. So as you can see, I don't always select straight away. I can think about it, but I really use my photos to guide my colour choices. I have 2 butter-colour cardstock, which I'm going to use as my framing and also to map my photos. I've chosen those colours because I think they complement the colours in the layout and the photos through the colour wheel, and they are the basis for green, so it just marries nicely. So I'm just going to trim down a 3" by 12, which I then reduced to a 3" by 8, and I'm slicing it 8.5 because it's going to be tucked in under this main photo. Now I do gut this frame as well. That's so I can extend my use of the butter colour, so that it will marry nicely into the framing of my photos and my title further down the track. Now, as I said, we went into the Yukon as part of a trip on our cruise leg at Skagway. We'd met Jared Hawke, who is a director of trips and adventures in America, and he was on our cruise, and we had dinner with him one night, and we'd asked him what they were doing in Skagway because we hadn't booked anything, my girlfriend and I, and so he told us that they were doing this adventure discovery tour the next day, and that if we wanted to, we could join them as long as we could get onto it through the company that he was working with. So we got up early, got off the boat, and just so happened that our bus driver was related to the company that we needed to source. They got us to the office. We were able to get tickets, and we were able to join them on the trip. And so this was one of our stops on this amazing trip that we just fluked on the day. And all comes down to who you speak to, who you meet, and all those sorts of things. And that's what I love about cruising, that you never know what you're going to do. And every single day, my friend and I, we had no real plan of what we were going to do, and we just lucked out so well on all of our adventures. It was great. And this lake, as I said, Emerald Lake, unbelievable. So as you can see here, I have gone with the papers that look like mountains, and you can just see I made a mistake there. I put it in upside down, so I don't realize it until I'm going to stick down my branding strips here across the top. And you watch, I do put down this first one, and it's when I've stuck it down that I realise I've made a mistake. I've got it upside down because I put the two pages together and go, oh no, it's upside down. So luckily I can just carefully readjust my alignment and put it up the correct way, because that would have been a great faux pas if I let that happen all the way across. But, you know, just fix it. Not a problem. Just a piece of paper, bit of tape, and I was able to re-glue it down. All right, so I have now got my photo framed. I have got my base down, and I am now going to use this vine to create strip that is across the bottom of the sketch. It looks quite effective across there. I tied it into that colour. It ties in the colours of the trees there. As you can see, it is also vines, so it's leaves, so it's like the trees. So I tried to keep it very similar to the theme of my photos and bring it across. And now I'm just going to cut off two thin strips in that darker green just to put across the bottom of, across the top of that strip there, just so that it looks like it is finished and it's not just sticking there. So that runs across the page, as you can see. And I do apologise. My space is very small that I work in. So I can only do one page at a time. I can't do the double layout spread out for you, but I will have stills at the end that you can stop and have a good detailed look if you'd like. But I work from one page to the next, and I just marry it that way. So I do apologise if you're expecting to see how the layout is done as a double, because I don't work that way. I work as single layouts building to the double. The bottom part of this sketch also has these little squares running across the bottom section. And so what I've done is I have cut out little 1 inch by 1 inch squares. That's why I cut out that centre from that backing, because I wanted to use that as part of the process. I am using the Vicky Burton Bold and Bright here, these squares, and I will go off screen now and cut those all down into those 1 inch squares and tape them up ready for use. So I've done that, and now I'm just going to lay them on my layout, and I'm just going to adhere them into place. So as you can see, they're a mix of the colours from the photos, and they blend beautifully with the papers, and they marry nicely in with the layout sketch. So I've just laid them down. They're 1 inch by 1 inch, and I've done it exactly the same again for the other side, and I am just eyeballing where they go. I haven't measured it out. You can if you like, but I find if you look at the sketch, it's a little bit haphazard where they're sitting in there, so I've gone with that flow for this section as well. And I love that all of the colours are reflected in the photos, and you can see that the whole layout is now just gelling quite nicely together. Now that I've done that, it's time to embellish it, and I have got these labels. I've got some round ones and some rectangular ones. I do want to try and stay true to the sketch, but I don't want the cluster sitting up in the middle of the tree, so I'm bringing it down here to the bottom, and that's so that it doesn't steal from that overall photo but adds to it. Now I'm going to put in these chipboard trees and they're going to build up the clusters, but before I do that I need to actually colour them. Off to the right I've just piled the things that I'm going to use on that page. I haven't placed them, but I will come back and do that. I am using some faded denim stain here that is a Tim Holtz stain to colour my trees. They are in the blue, but as they lighten up you will see that they go more of a tealy colour and match the rest of the layout. So I use my tacky glue now, and I'm just going to lay these onto my layout, just placing them roughly. As I said, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to the clusters. I just lay them as they go. I first put them one way and then I can move them around a little bit, but if I'm pretty happy with it, I will go and glue it straight down. If I'm unsure, I will go off screen to do the gluing because I may do some playing. So I love how that geo spots has the hearts in it. It just tells you how much this place, I just was in love with this place. I have added in the little trees now. As you can see, they're lightening up as they dry, and as I said, with the pop tape underneath, the pop foam dots, I'm able to manipulate those extra elements of the clusters so that it is balanced and appears nicely on the layout. So that tree goes over to the side. I've also cut out on my Cricut the title, and I have also added in the tags that Shawn has on the sketch, just so that I can stay true to it. I'm using some faux stitching here where there was a stitching indicated on the layout, and I'm doing also a faux running stitch along the edge of this panel here and the corresponding one on the other page, so that it looks like I have stitched that all to the page. I've also added some journaling onto those labels, just saying where it was and when it was. And I'm finishing off with some Nouveau drops in the teal sparkly colour, just so it's like the emerald lake that it's named after. And here is how it has come together. I've put those clusters up to the sides. I've got my title with the little tags. I have the bottom cluster and those little squares running across the border. I've added stitching onto the page. I've added clusters where they are as per the sketch. I've used all the colours from my photos to complementarily build this layout. And you will see a full page of it at the end where I have got a still, and that's how this has come together. So I hope that there's something here that inspired you. Don't forget to check out the playlist below, as well as all of the people on the Facebook group. This is my final layout. I hope you like it as much as I do. I hope there was something here that inspired you. The colours are just beautiful. I don't often scrap a 10 by 8 photo, but this one really has done justice to my photos from that event, and I am really thrilled with how it turned out. So once again, playing along with the 30 days of sketches that Christy puts out on Facebook every few months. This time it is double layouts, not my go-to, but I am going to do the double layouts because I have so many photos from my recent trip, and these are just perfect. So all of those clusters all have little bit of elements, all add to the layouts, and I hope you have found something that is inspirational. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Remember, I'm Kathy from Kathy Loves a Scrap, coming from down under. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you know when my next one's coming. Leave me a comment, I'll get back to you. I love the feedback, it is very helpful. Check me out on all my socials under Kathy Loves a Scrap. Remember, Instagram is where you'll find everything I do. I really do appreciate your time today. Thank you for watching, and happy scrapping till next time.